Hi there, welcome to Hashtag Chat Betting, the flagship show of Good for the Game TV. Very good to have you with us. I think I may have started the show just a few seconds early, but that's not a train smash. I see the boys were on my back. The last show we did at 8:30 with Gary Lenton, GG Gaming Gone Mad. We did start a little bit late, but I suppose it's typical of Gary. He slid in under the wire. I thought I was going to be doing the show on my own, and then he suddenly arrived just in the nick of time. So very, very happy about that, I must tell you. Anyway, we had a great show there. We've given away a few prizes, but now we're on to the main event, so to speak. This is the show every week, 9 o'clock on a Thursday, where we talk sports betting, and I have punters from around the country joining me talking about their specific sports and seeing if we can help turn your sporting knowledge into profits. And somewhere on your screen, you will see couch critic Hein de Mont. Hein, very good to have you back on the show.
How's it, Brent? Nice being here again.
Excellent. Yeah, I think the last one we did was the Crusaders versus Lions final, and we certainly tipped a few winners there. It is great to have rugby back. I don't know about you, but last weekend I was at a bit of a loss. You know, fortunately there was the PGA Golf, and I had a nice win on Kepka there. But aside from that, I really didn't know what to do with myself.
Luckily, my timing worked out quite well, Brent, because I visited the folks for the weekend, so they actually had me all to themselves because I didn't have any sport to watch. So it worked out perfectly. But yes, I'm raring to go this time around, chomping at the bit to get stuck into something.
Yeah, myself. You know, a weekend like that actually does you good. You certainly appreciate the rugby that's coming, and certainly looking forward to it. Although this weekend, as it happens, it looks as though I might miss both test matches. Can you believe it? It's my daughter's Deb's ball this week at school, and there's all sorts of things. They think they're getting married. There's makeup, there's dress fittings, there's hair, and I'm going to be lifting around. So I'll probably be watching online on my phone. But Hein, let's take a look then at the first thing on the agenda, and that's the English Premier League. That got going last week. Commanding performance by Manchester City in beating Arsenal. They certainly look, once again, like they're going to be very tough to beat. But there's a full house of fixtures starting on Saturday. Cardiff up against Newcastle kicking us off. But perhaps let me ask first up, have you had a look at the EPL? Anything catch your eye?
No, again, unfortunately, I'm a Arsenal fan, so it was a horrible first result, and I think they got the short stick there of the first two fixtures, having to face Chelsea this time around. So hopefully we can just squeeze past the first two. And then the thing I'm looking at, even though I might be a bit biased, is I think there will be quite a few goals in the Arsenal games. You know, I think as soon as they get to face a few opponents that aren't as good as City, they'll hopefully run in a few. So yes, I think hopefully they'll pick up some momentum, and then we'll see some goals from them. But yeah, otherwise I'm just looking forward to seeing what Liverpool and City can come up with after pretty dominant first showings.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of people fancy Liverpool, certainly to push City all the way. And I guess you'd have to say things went pretty much according to the form book. I know Southpaw on the Good for the Game forum, he backed Liverpool to score 3 goals or more at 5-6. And I must say, it was one of those situations as a punter, you have them sometime. I actually fancied that bet myself a bit. Saw his post, was going to post, and I don't even know what happened, but something happened, and I actually missed the boat. And before I knew it, I turned over, and they were 2-0, 3-0, and you know, well done to the boys that got on. But it's one of those things, as I get older as a punter, I don't let these things upset me as much as they used to. I used to get very tense about it. But let's just have a look through the card, Hein. I'm just going to pull the old iPad in front here. We've got Cardiff up against Newcastle United. Cardiff 22-10 at home. Newcastle 15-10 away winners. It's not a game that really catches my eye.
No, again, I didn't watch much. I haven't watched any of the other sides playing except a few big guys. So I'm definitely not going to be jumping into anything, especially not in the first 2 weeks, until I get a good idea of who's doing what at this stage, Brent.
Well, let me run through some of Chris's bets for you. He's posted a preview on the Good for the Game forum there. And the first pick he's really nailed up is Everton up against Southampton. Southampton played a 0-0 draw to Burnley last week. Everton drew 2-2 to newcomers Wolves, but I think it was a creditable draw because they went down to 10 men fairly early in the game. It was our best bet in our Good for the Game newsletter. We actually tipped both teams to score there, and the match finished 2-2. So hoping to carry on a good run in Everton games. And Chris likes Everton here at 9-10.
Yes, I wouldn't be ready to drop Everton just yet. I think as they showed in terms of scoring some goals, so I actually think they should be a decent side, and I'm expecting them to bounce back this weekend. As I said, I haven't watched much, and I didn't see that performance, but I was expecting them to put in a good showing, and I expect them to do so again this weekend.
Right, Leicester up against Wolves. We did chat about this one on the GG Gaming Gone Mad show. Chris really fancies here both teams to score again. He certainly likes the fact that Wolves have spent a bit of money in the off-season. They look to have improved their chances, certainly of staying up as opposed to some of the teams that come up and go straight down. And Leicester at home against Wolves, well, they should find the back of the net. So he's going both teams to score here at 17-20. And I'm including that in a number of accumulators this week, Hein.
Yeah, you can do that, but I'm not going to be as confident on that one just yet. I'll wait for you to get to the two games that I am interested that I'll be involving in some of my bets. But as I say, early on in the season, I'm not going out on a limb, and I like to build up some nice accumulators. But I hate always inevitably ends up being some football result costing me in the end. So especially early on, I'm gonna try and stay clear of that. Except, as I said, on a few of the big guys who I've got some confidence in.
Yeah, well, we'll get to those games. But you raise a good point. I mean, taking accumulators, and they're not everyone's cup of tea. A lot of people don't take accumulators. I'm the sort of punter, I don't often take them, to be honest. But every now and again, especially on a weekend like last weekend where there may not have been that much on, I do like to speculate a bit with some bigger prices. But it's often the short price winner that does you in there. So yeah, we have to tread very carefully. I've got a feeling this could be one of the games you're going to get involved in. Chelsea up against Arsenal. They're obviously away. Chelsea are at home. And Chelsea are 8-10 odds on favourites. We've got 3-1 the draw, which looks a decent price, and 13-4 Arsenal.
Yes, I heard you got quite confident on Chelsea there at 8-10. I think you said in the GG Gaming chat. So 8-10, even against Arsenal, I don't think that's a bad price. I think that's decent value. So I wouldn't be jumping in and saying that Arsenal is the team to go for. But I don't know if you've seen some odds on it, but perhaps both teams to score could be a good one there.
Well, while we're talking about some of the other games, I'll certainly have a look at that for you. I'm guessing both teams to score there will probably be around about the 7-10 mark. That's my estimate at any rate. But we'll be able to confirm that in a minute or two. That's the beauty of having iPads and everything at your disposal as well. So yeah, I'm nailing up Chelsea there at 8-10. I wasn't impressed with Arsenal last week. I know, as Gary said on the show earlier as well, what can we really expect? It was their first game under a new manager, certainly after the Wenger era. But then again, Chelsea were also starting with new management, and they certainly look much more impressive, albeit against much weaker opposition in Huddersfield last week. So I'm going Chelsea to win here at home. And get the guys like Piers Morgan on Twitter starting to call for the head of the Arsenal manager nice and early in the season.
Brent, I just think the one thing there is, I mean, Arsenal even in days gone by haven't been that great at the back. So definitely with a new manager and quite a few fresh faces. I mean, in defense, I think you can be sure Chelsea will get a few goals and at least one. And then, yeah, my argument at about 7-10, as you say, would just be that I think something will click sometime. So hopefully there'll be one from Arsenal as well.
Well, just logging on to the World Sports betting site, I do spend a lot of time on there. I place a lot of bets with them. And if my iPad would scroll a bit quicker, I could give you the price on that. Both teams to score. It's actually 6-10. So it was a little bit shorter than I was expecting. So perhaps one for the accumulators there.
Definitely.
Right, moving on to the next game, Manchester City against Huddersfield. Well, I mean, Huddersfield, what a fixture for them. Well beaten last week, and now they play against a side that beat Arsenal convincingly. And not surprisingly, the betting is very, very one-sided. I think I saw something about 1-10 or somewhere around Manchester City. I'm just waiting for the good old Wi-Fi to refresh the price there. But really, from a betting angle here, Hein, if you're betting on this game, you've got to be looking at the goals markets and perhaps betting Manchester City to either score 3 or 4 goals or maybe win on the handicap of -2.
Yes, Brent, I suppose that's the way to go. I think the only problem with this one, and the problem, if you can say that, probably a nice place to be for Pep, is that, where do you go from there after a convincing first win and everyone has them as runaway favourites to win the league? They can't keep on doing it week in or game in and game out, putting people away 3 and 4 north. So I mean, somewhere along the line, it gets to that stage where a good rugby side only wins by 10, and you say that only won by that. So, Pep is just there to keep on getting the results. So, even a 2 duck is going to be good enough. So, I wouldn't really be lumping on a lot of goals. Things might not go all their way, but yes, definitely maybe a goal in both halves or something like that for them.
Right. Well, the final game we'll leave the Monday night fixture between Crystal Palace and Liverpool out for now. But Brighton up against Manchester United. Brighton, well, well, they were beaten. They were beaten by Watford. I actually got, you got to be careful what you see on Twitter. And I was watching the live scores, and I saw Watford were 2-0 up. Now Watford on my side, so I was pretty happy about that, albeit that I actually fancied Brighton to get something from the game. So I was quite happy. And then I was scrolling through Twitter, and I saw Watford 2, Brighton 2. And then I promptly tweeted somebody about the fact that Brighton came back to draw the game, only to go back and read. And what I'd seen was an old tweet that got thrown in there where a guy was actually making his predictions for the afternoon. So you do have to be careful, otherwise you can make quite a fool of yourself on social media, and I certainly did that last week. But you've got Brighton, you're big underdogs at home. They're at 17-4. You can get 51-20 the draw. And Manchester United odds on at 15-20. And I was quite impressed with them this last week, and I think there'll be plenty of takers at 15-20 Manchester United.
Yes, I might be one of those suckers. That's exactly the type of bet that I used to throw into a few multiples, have Man U at 6-10 or something like that, and you think it's a given, and they go and play to a draw. But I've got them on to win that one, to throw in a few, and it's actually, I know you said you skipped over that game, but I'd take a double there on Liverpool to win and Man U to win, and I had it at 15-10. So I actually think that's my football punt for the weekend.
What was that, 15-10?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. That sounds a good one, and one that you can get involved with without getting carried away and do too much damage. Let's have a look then at the South African Premier League, the PSL. That's been going now a couple of weeks. We've had some teams play 2 matches, some teams play 3 matches. Wits have started extremely strongly. They've won 3 out of 3. They're top of the table. Wits, of course, won 2 seasons ago, but then had a very disappointing last season. They really, at one stage, looked like they might even finish bottom of the table. And most of the teams, from what I can tell, in action this week, we got the Soweto Giants, Kaizer Chiefs away to Maritzburg United. Maritzburg, very, very, very poor so far. They've lost both their games, but they were very strong at home last season. They play a Chiefs side that's already coming under quite a bit of pressure. Were quite badly beaten by Wits. Have you had a chance to have a look at any of these games, Hein, or do you want me to run through my bets?
No, Brent, South African football is not really my cup of tea. I was a staunch supporter for the 3 years that I was at Varsity, since I didn't have any satellite TV. So the only sport that I could really watch was South African football. So I was big on Kaizer Chiefs in that time. So I'll always favour them. But Sundowns have been pretty strong the last couple of seasons. So I mean, it'll be tough going away from them. But I just religiously follow Chris if I want to have a bet on these kind of matches.
Yeah, he's certainly shrewd when it comes to the PSL. So I'm not gonna run through all the PSL games yet, because we've got plenty else to talk about. I know most of our viewers are probably dying for us to get into the rugby. But if I have a look here, we've got Kaizer Chiefs to beat Maritzburg United at around the 15-10 mark. And then the other Soweto Giant Pirates, they're around 16-10 to beat Bloem Celtic. Now, Bloem Celtic have made a very strong start to the season. They've won their opening games, even though a lot of people expected them to have a poor season. So perhaps getting a better price on Pirates because of that. Pirates have been a bit hit and miss. But I actually think we're going to see the 2 big boys win this weekend, and that double works out at a little bit under 6-1. So that's my PSL double. I'm going for Chiefs to win, Pirates to win. Very often when you go for those sides, certainly in soccer sixes and that, is when you fall short. I've just got a feeling that this weekend we're going to get the big guns winning. So that's my only PSL bet for the weekend.
Yeah, as I've said, Brent, often you look at, especially if you're not following it so closely, you look at this and you think, gee whiz, how can Chiefs be 15-10 to win a game? They're a super strong side. They've got lots of money. They should have all the big stars. So often I've thrown in one of those, and then that's the one leg in the accumulator that doesn't come in, or Sundowns go and lose or draw at Free State against Free State Stars, or Bloem Celtic or someone like that. I think it's almost a little bit like French rugby, in the sense where, playing away from home is tough. And in South Africa, the consistency isn't there. You go from one week to the next. But definitely, if I had to go for a blind punt, it would be Kaizer Chiefs and Pirates. I know Chris was also very solid on Pirates having a decent season. So, I mean, I think it could do worse at 6-1 than those two, eh?
Right, well, I'm going to throw in a little bit of a competition out of the blue here. I'm going to say, from Good for the Game, we got a live chat comment side there. The first person to comment there, let's say on let's just say you've got a comment and just say, put hashtag chat betting in the comment line. We'll put 100 Rand into the bookmaker of your choice that you can bet. So it's not a voucher. You can do whatever you want. The only thing we will ask is that you bet with the money and you could draw it out afterwards. So if any of our guys are watching in the chat, and I hope I can actually see the chat now, I've got it sort of on the side of my phone, just put the comment there, hashtag chat betting, and we'll give you a 100 Rand bet in the bookmaker of your choice. You're totally unrestricted there. So yeah, get that in. The first person to get that in will win that 100 Rand bet. And we've got, he's on fire, this guy, Ruan Farid. Oh no, hold on. He's actually said he doesn't want to win again because he's won so much. He's giving someone else a chance. So we'll see if someone else will come in. Ruan hasn't. He just tweeted he's going to give someone else a chance because he really has been on fire. But let's go on to a bit of cricket, Hein. I haven't looked at the cricket much myself, I must tell you. We're going to have Henrik joining us to talk rugby now in just a few minutes. Anything on this weekend that you fancy on the cricket side?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think a lot of the value has gone in on England. I wish I took them to win the series 4-0 because they've been absolutely cruising it. The first test was quite a battle, and India let it slip, and they really needed to win that first one. And since then, they just haven't been able to cope with the swing, and it's been amazing how often when you get to India, you see all the sides struggling against their spin bowlers. But this time around, almost like you see in South Africa, guys struggling with the pace. The Indians have just had no clue against the swinging Duke ball. This coming weekend, they're playing at Trent Bridge, so it should be nothing different there. Should be hooping around, and Jimmy Anderson is clocking big time into the wicket, so I'm going to take him there for leading wicket taker in the first innings. Oh, in fact, I think I'd go for the bigger price of Jimmy Anderson to be man of the match at 8-1. As I said, I think it'll be swinging around a bit, so bowler has a good opportunity of being man of the match, and yeah, at 8-1, that's a decent price. And then other things to look out for. Again, if it's swinging around the top order, don't score that many runs. And Johnny Bairstow has been in good touch, so I'll take him to be the top first innings batsman for England at 5-1. And then just a little roughie. I know Kohli is head and shoulders the best in the side, and I've actually taken him to be the series leading run scorer, so I'm pretty happy with that. But I'll take Dinesh Karthik again coming down low in the order at 10-1 to be the top Indian batsman.
You kind of get the feeling when the Indian team, if you can beat Kohli in that market, which is not easy because he is so dominant, but if you can beat him, then you any one of those speculative plays could come off, really.
Exactly, and even they've got R. Ashwin at 15-1, and I think in the second innings he actually was the top innings run scorer. So I mean, as you say, if they really flop first up and maybe have to bat first and they're all out for 110, he might be the top scorer of 25. So it's not the worst punt at 15-1.
Right. Well, I see someone popping up on the screen below. He doesn't have a baby in his hands this time. It's Henrik Swart, and he wants to talk rugby. Of course, one of his favorite events, if not his favorite event, the Currie Cup gets going tomorrow. A bit of a watered-down tournament this year. But Henrik, you must have suffered last week without the rugby.
Yes, it was a quiet weekend, Brent. Hi, and how are you?
No, very well.
Yeah, no, it was a quiet weekend, Brent. Not a lot to watch. I watched a bit of the cricket as well, the England versus India and the Proteas against Sri Lanka, and a bit of the golf. I don't watch those two sports a lot, but yeah, no rugby, so I had to watch something live.
Yeah, well, I mean, I must say, I'm very pleased to have the rugby and the Currie Cup. The only thing is, I think the one game is a Friday afternoon kickoff, which is a bit awkward for those of us who have jobs. And what time's the second game?
Both games actually switched to Friday now. The Pumas game at 5 o'clock tomorrow, and the Cheetahs game at 7 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, so 5 and 7. That's not too bad. I was worried that we had a 2 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, no, both 5 and 7 now. The Pumas game originally scheduled for 2 o'clock on Saturday, but they moved it to 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Well, let's start with that game. Pumas up against Griquas, Henrik. There was plenty of money early in the week for the Pumas. I know Chris in his preview on Good for the Game did tip the Pumas when I think it was Bet Exchange were first out at 9-10 the pair. I now see the market seems to have settled around -4.5. Did you get on early first and foremost? And if you hadn't got on early, and I'm assuming you may have, then would you still be taking the -4.5?
Brent, when I got on, I actually got on at -5.5, and I had my max for that game on that. So yeah, I thought it would go up to 10 at least. That's where I would put the handicap. But yeah, so I took the -5.5, and I see there's -4.5 at evens available at GG Gaming, and I would definitely take that. Yeah, so yeah, that's one of the better bets of the weekend, I reckon.
Yeah, well, certainly those who watch the GG Gaming show, which you can also watch afterwards, will know it's part of my treble as well, at -4.5 Pumas. Hein, have you got any strong fancies on this game?
Brent, I got on at 3.5, and after reading a bit of Heinrich's confidence, I actually poured in a little bit more. But yeah, it's not really my strength on those two sides. I don't know that much about them. But yeah, I think the Pumas should be favourite for that one. I'm not sure about the 10 points. I think Griquas can be a bit of a tough nut in a late try or something. But I'm pretty confident on the 3.5 that I got. Yeah.
Which is interesting with Gary Lenton on the GG Gaming show. He was saying one of his shrewd rugby punters has actually come in for the Griquas, so he's giving the Griquas plenty of respect. Although he personally fancies the Pumas. But you know, I would say that Hendricks is shrewder rugby punter as any. So I'm quite happy that he's come in Pumas. I'll certainly be joining him on that one. The Pumas.
Brent, sorry, just another note on that game. I see Rasarashvinga is the ref for that game, and these games are normally overs games. So just yeah, if the points quote is under the points, I would go overs as well on that game.
Yes, because I had a look at the history between these sides. I stand to be corrected, but I think the last two games have had like in excess of 80 points in or something when these sides have met. Certainly, perhaps the last. So this certainly could be one. I mean, I don't know. Any quotes out yet, Henrik? I wouldn't think so.
I've checked all the websites. No quotes yet.
Well,
Henrik is chomping at the bit there for some more markets. I have a funny feeling that the Currie Cup's going to be pretty low profile at this stage, and maybe an hour before kickoff we might get something else than an outright and a handicap, because it looks like everything, even the news on the Currie Cup front is still very on the low down. So hopefully we're hoping for some points lines, because I agree with him. I mean, in any case, Griquas are open running team, and Pumas enjoy playing ball in hand. So I think it should be a nice running affair.
Han, you know, unfortunately, I think you're 100% right there, and I think Henrik and I are both in agreement there. The Currie Cup is just at the moment so low profile. We might be lucky, as you say, if we get points lines 20 minutes before kickoff. So certainly for bookmakers out there watching this, and I'm sure a few of them will watch it over the next day or so, here's an opportunity. Get your points lines, put a bit of a stake in the sand there and say, come guys, come and get me. Here's the point lines. You virtually know where we're going to go, so you can even set those point lines a bit higher. But let's hope we get some markets. So Henrik, you're obviously heavily involved in your handicap to your max. Does that mean you don't get involved in the points lines, or is it just your handicap max? You've still got your points lines that you can play?
No, that's only the handicap max for me. So I still have funds that I would invest in the points lines. And I would, yeah, like I said, if the total points score is anything under 60.5, I would go overs, and I would actually also have a look at the Pumas overs. Yeah, and then another thing I remember from last year about the Griquas, I'm not sure how they're going to go this year, but they're more of a second half team. So yeah, if they are behind like 20 points or something at half time, you can always back them on the plus.
Right, well, that takes us to the second game, is the Free State up against the Bulls. Now, this is also an interesting game. I think there was 9-10 the Cheetahs early in the week. I'm going to go and have a look at the latest betting now. We've got, on the WSB side, you've got 8-10, 3-1. No, I'm sorry, guys, I'm looking at the wrong thing there. I'm looking at the Chelsea game. I'm thinking, geez, it can't be that. But I assume there's been a bit of betting movement on this one, because the Cheetahs have picked a fairly strong side, and certainly, Henrik, most of the Good for the Game forums seem to be on the Cheetahs here.
Yeah, I took some of the 9-10 on the Cheetahs to win the game. I spoke to Gavin from Oracle Rugby a bit about this game as well, and I see his point on it. He likes the Bulls here, and he thinks the Bulls have been playing super rugby, some of the guys, and the Cheetahs haven't been playing rugby. So yeah, I see his point coming for the Bulls, but I like the Cheetahs, and neither of these team sheets impressed me. So then I always go for the home team, and at 9-10, I'm happy to take the Cheetahs. And I just think they know that they have to take back the points for the Currie Cup before they start with the Pro 14. So I think they will take it seriously.
Right. Well, Hyde, I was actually going to ask you, kind of, I think along the lines that the Oracle is talking there as well. The one concern I've got, I do like the Free State here based on the team that they picked, but my one concern is that their focus is not really on the Currie Cup. that the Cheetahs may actually be using this game more as a prep for the Pro 14, which of course starts, I think, on the 1st of September. And does that make punting the handicap a little bit more dangerous?
Yeah, definitely. I think I missed the boat there. I think it was something like 6-10 already. So Cheetahs are firmed considerably there. So everyone's in agreement with Chris that the team news is that the Bulls are going to struggle a bit. But I actually listened to the Puerto Iman interview, and he sounded pretty confident and stating that he really wanted to win the Currie Cup. And as you say, that's probably the opposite feeling of what's happening in the Cheetahs camp. There's no incentive or no target there in terms of targeting the Currie Cup. And the interesting thing that they said was almost the entire Bulls starting 15 have had some Super Rugby experience or been involved, where obviously the Cheetahs guys don't have quite that much experience. And then just looking at the sides again, we unfortunately probably won't get the market, but I'd love to have Nico Lee as a anytime try scorer. I mean, that guy, he loves the try line. So that would be great. And then guys like Mahoje in there, Ox up front, Neil Jordan, and at the back they've got Rudy Page and Tian Skuman playing at fly off. So I mean, it's a decent side, but again they're a bit young up front. Oh, actually the Bulls are even more unexperienced up front. So yes, the Cheetahs probably deserved favourites there. And again, I don't know if we're going to get some points and tries. It should be an open affair. The Cheetahs always like to run the ball, and the Bulls, as I said, they've got Defan Rousseau at full back, and Moni Libok is playing at fly off. I mean, he's a gas man, and he loves having a run. So I think this is going to be a nice open affair, and definitely if you could get 9-10, then it's an obvious choice. But at current lines, I think it might be a bit tougher.
Yeah, it could be. Talking about Libok, I think he played fly off for the first time against the Lions in Super Rugby. And he was really, really impressive in that game, if I remember correctly. Just Ruan is commenting on one of the advantages of this technology, which I can also hear is playing some tricks on us at the moment. But one of the advantages is that those who are watching live are able to comment in the live chat. And Ruan here making the comment that the Bulls are match fit, so they may be stronger in the second half. And I guess, Henrik, a reference there to the fact that the Bulls have obviously come through Super Rugby, where it's been some time since the Cheetahs have been in action in Pro 14.
Yes, that is a concern. For me being on the Cheetahs, the Bulls, lots of the players in the Bulls team have been involved in Super Rugby, so that is a bit of a concern. And like you said, they might be taking the Currie Cup more seriously than the Cheetahs. But yeah, just at home and with, I'm not that sure about Moni Libok at fly off. He's a good fullback, but I'm not sure. Fly off is a specialist position. I don't like having players that's not a specialist at fly off. So yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens on that one. Let's hope from a punter's perspective that the bookmakers do come out with the markets, and they come out, a few hours beforehand, because there's nothing worse than scrambling around 20 minutes before the game trying to get a total points bet on. Gents, that takes us to the big business of the weekend. Without a doubt, it's the Rugby Championship. Look, they're betting 1-7 New Zealand to win the championship. It's hard to argue. Southpaw in the Good for the Game forum, he's saying take the 5-6 probably, or he was asking the question if the 5-6 is value, that New Zealand will win all 6 games. And I'll start with you, Hein. I mean, is there any value in trying to oppose New Zealand to win the title, or should we be looking elsewhere for a long-term bet, like the Australia, or perhaps the betting without New Zealand, where Australia and South Africa are 11-10 the pair?
No, definitely that option. I've got a few or very few punting rules actually, but one that I do have is don't go against New Zealand. And yeah, I mean, I just don't see them. Everyone's been talking about this scenario and that scenario, but I just don't see them not winning the championship. A game, yes, I can see an argument for that. A lot of people have been talking about that last game when it's a dead rubber, but I actually think the 5-6 is worth a shot. But it's just, anything close to even money, tying that up for a month or a bit more than a month is I don't enjoy those kind of punts. Obviously, if you do throw them into a few other combinations, then they might be worthwhile. But no, I won't be rushing in. I have said in previous comments that I think New Zealand aren't quite as strong as they have been, and there might be a few chinks, or what we call little chinks in the armor. But then again, I think some of the other guys have bigger problems, and probably the one that has got the least problems is the Aussies at this stage, in terms of having a settled build up and almost starting from a lower platform and trying to compete. So then again, I think it's a very big weekend for them to really come out and show that, listen, they're ready to take things a step up, while, you know, there isn't quite as much to lose for the All Blacks at this stage.
Right, Henrik, looking at the game itself, we've got a handicap of 11.5 points. That's minus 11.5 points. New Zealand in Sydney. I haven't had a look at what the Oracle had to say on this one, but I should imagine you know what he's gone for, and are you in agreement, or what are you going for here?
I'm in agreement with Oracle. He's gone for the plus on Australia. I like Australia. Just on the long term as well, I think Australia will do well, and I think they will do better than the Box. I actually think Australia will beat us in Australia. We're playing them in Brisbane, and I think they'll come and beat us in Port Elizabeth as well, because we don't have the advantage of altitude playing them, and they're normally quite good at the coast. So I think a bet I like on Australia with Sunbet is Australia to win 4 of their 6 games at 7-2. Yeah, and then this weekend on the plus, I'll be taking Australia on the plus 11.5, and I'll also be having a look at Australia overs, which I think it should be around 21, 22 points.
Yeah, I was thinking around about 23, somewhere around there. Just a quick one. Peter Paul has asked, what site gives you the winner without New Zealand? I did see it on the WSB site when I was doing a little bit of research. I'm not sure other bookmakers may have it as well, but you can get it. Sorry, where's that? Sportingbet as well. Sportingbet have also got that. So it seems to be a fairly common market. And for me, as far as a bookmaker goes, you know, if I was a bookie, it's a logical market, because then you can generate interest in the long term. With a 1-7 favourite now, New Zealand, you're not going to get a lot of interest in the market unless you offer other alternatives. Hein, before we move on to the South Africa match, your actual bet on the game itself?
Yeah, my punt is actually on halftime handicap, Oz plus 5.5. Again, I just can't trust the Kiwis to not pull away in that last 20. They've got some magic off the bench there. If Damian McKenzie, I don't know, things can go wrong for the Aussie punters. So I'm sticking with them to come out strong and have a good first half. So Australia plus 5.5 at 9-10 is my play on this one. And I mean, just looking at the teams, I've wrote them down here, and I'm still worried about the Aussies in the pack. I think they've got a bit more of a solid front row, which is good. But at lock time, I mean, we saw the Crusaders taking down a pretty decent Lions team in terms of the line-out. So I think they're probably going to try and do the same thing. I mean, Coleman and Roda, or I think something like that. At lock against Whitelock and Retallick, the best lock combination in world rugby. I think they'll look to enforce themselves in that one. And then, as I said, hopefully the Aussies will just come out strong, and then I think New Zealand could. The other one to look at is perhaps Australia, New Zealand. I had a look at that one. I think it's about 5-1. So if you're a bit more adventurous, Australia to lead and New Zealand to win the game at the end.
Right. So both of you going Aussies in one form or another, one maybe with a half-time bet and the other one with a full-time handicap. Well, then the big game down in Durban, it's South Africa against Argentina. I did speak to Oracle. I think it was on this show last week, actually. He was moaning a bit about the fact that South Africa always start against Argentina when Argentina are effectively at their strongest, because they're probably, you know, not after getting battered through the tournament, they're probably weaker at the end. And I think it's a good point, hey, Henrik. It's a tough start for South Africa with a doubleheader against Argentina, not because they shouldn't win, but probably because our rivals are going to be playing Argentina at a better stage of the tournament.
Yes, definitely. They are fired up at this stage, and like you say, later in the tournament when they've lost to like 4 games, they don't have the morale, and they might be ripe for the picking. And also, they've been in South Africa for quite a while. In Super Rugby, I'm sure they went back home now, but the last few months they've been in South Africa for quite a long time. So they're used to conditions here. So I like Argentina on the plus as well here. I see the handicap has gone up to 16.5. I think it started off at 14.5. For some reason, there's been money for South Africa. It's not been my money. I'm not fond of the Bok team that I saw today. I don't like the loose tier. The loose tier is too light. With Whiteley is too light at 8 man, and Khaleesi it's a bit light. And then the back three, a bit vulnerable on defense and under the high ball for me. So, yeah, I like Argentina's chances on the plus here.
Well, I know Oracle is watching the show because he's making some comments. And let me ask Oracle, he did say he likes the Bulls. Just post your bet for the Oracle, just post your bet for the South Africa-Argentina game for us there. We've also got a winner of our competition. That's Liam Weinberg. He commented hashtag chat betting. So Liam, just drop me an email, Brent at goodforthegame.co.za, and we'll make a plan to organize you that 100 Rand into a bookmaker of your choice. Ruan Faree also liking Argentina plus 16.5. I must say this is a game that has me rather undecided. Hein, any idea what the weather's going to be like in Durban? Because if it's heavy underfoot, I think Hendrik's comments around the loose forward trio come more and more into play. You know, you like loose forward trio, you want hard underfoot conditions, but perhaps you want more of the heavy workers if conditions are not great.
Yeah, Brent, I've got no clue on the weather. I know last weekend it was pretty miserable, especially Friday, which actually was quite disappointing for me visiting there. But yeah, I don't know. Just on the argument of playing them first, actually, you know, there's two sides of the coin to that. At least we, you know, for Rassie, I think it's a better match to have. Get your starting lineup in order. Get a few guys having a taste. I mean, imagine having to face New Zealand first game up in South Africa and you lose that one, then it's trouble from there. You know, then you're up against the firing squad. So you know, there's benefits on both sides. I actually think Rassie's got a pretty good opportunity now to get 2 wins under the belt. I know going away to Argentina probably won't be easy, but I still think it's an opportunity. And again, they might be playing with the Pumas. I mean, the Jaguares set up and coach, but it might take them a little bit of time to really get settled. And even after their pretty good form in Super Rugby, they didn't really take it further when they came to South Africa. So I think it's not really their best place to play, hopefully. So I don't think the Boks will have too much trouble beating them, but I definitely think the value should lie with the plus handicap. Just looking at the team, the same as Hendrik said, it's some great talent and they showed some good form in Super Rugby, but that back three is a bit vulnerable. You know, they can be great on attack, but really, you know, you can be up and down. Mapimpi still starting out, Dayanti, great talent. And even the center pairing, you know, good with ball in hand, but on defense, Esterhuizen and can they really hold their own? Okay, Esterhuizen on defense is pretty solid, but yeah, so there's some question marks. And again, I think the loose trio you were never going to sort out given the combination we have. We desperately need Wayne to balance that out, and Kulisi moving to 7 is also always going to create a bit of a size issue, and we don't have another option at 8. So this team should be good enough against Argentina. It won't be good enough against the other two. And I actually think the value in this whole competition is going to lie in that PE game when Aussie come down. Aussie have a good opportunity of beating us twice, as Hendrik said. But on this one, I'd go for a slightly higher handicap on Argentina, probably something like plus 20, and then combine it with a Aussie plus 18 or something like that to give you a nice even money handicap for the weekend.
Right, Hendrik, if I gave you a total points line in this game, let's assume conditions are not bad. Let's assume they're typical Durban conditions. I'm not sure if we'll obviously be checking the weather forecast close to the time. But if I gave you a points line of 52.5 in this game, are you over or under?
The total points, 52. Yeah, I'll take overs because I think South Africa might leak a bit as well. And they will score with their wings and their exciting team. So I think overs, but I would rather take Argentina overs, and I reckon you will get under 20 points for overs on Argentina. I would think that's a better option.
Better option than the full match total points market. Okay, well, we're having a look at that. I know we got a couple of good for the game guys who will be posting on the forum from Durban because conditions are important. And the thing about Durban is it's not always only whether it's raining or not. The humidity levels play a role, but it is the time of the year where perhaps rugby conditions are a little bit better. So hopefully we get a free-flowing game and that overs bets can arrive. Guys, let me finish off with each of you now. We've really enjoyed the show, but starting with you, Hein, anything else that we haven't discussed that stands out for you on the weekend, or do you want to nail your best bet of the weekend for those who want to follow?
Yeah, I actually think I jumped the gun a bit there. I think my double would be my best bet. I see that one coming in, and again you can combine it. Maybe have a punt on the Pumas there to win outright their game, and a nice big plus on Argentina or on Australia. I see, as you know, usually when it's pretty close, they take a few extra points and keep it on your side, and rather include another game. As I said, the Australia plus 5.5 first half handicap. That's my best play of the weekend.
Plus 5.5. Maybe Henrik.
Just something else on the Mitre 10 Cup. I lost this morning on North Harbour, but tomorrow I like Tasman they're playing at home against Canterbury, and Canterbury's the favourites for the game, but I think Tasman might win the game, and I took some plus 8.5 Tasman and also 28-10 Tasman to win the game. And then my best bet for the weekend, I will go for the Pumas. I got the minus 5.5, but there's minus 4.5 available currently.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I was mixing things up on the Pumas game with the Cheetahs game when I was saying there was 9-10 available earlier. I've got a feeling the line may have come out round about where you guys are talking. Henrik, I am pleased you raised the Mitre 10 Cup because that is something that's getting quite a bit of interest on the Good for the Game forum. And I know Southpaw was with you. Is it Tasman in the morning at plus 8.5? Yeah. Has there been line movement there?
Yes, the line started out at 8.5. It's come in, it's settled about 6.5. I see some bookies have it at 5.5 as well. Yeah, so the money has come for Tasman. I've taken them for the win at 28-10, and the match odds for them is about 18-10 at the moment, and handicap 6.5, 5.5.
Excellent, gents. Thanks very much for joining me on this episode of Hashtag Chat Betting. It's been good. Thanks to those who've watched live. The beauty of the show, of course, is you don't have to watch live. You can watch it afterwards as well. We'll distribute it on Twitter, and of course, the Good for the Game newsletter will be coming out. We'll be nailing up our best bet for the weekend. I'll probably say this rather nervously. We've been on a bit of a run. I think it's 3 weeks in a row, which is a sign that I haven't been picking most of those, because when I pick a best bet on that newsletter, it's amazing. I can stop an absolute train. It's a nightmare. Also, make sure you go back and watch our GG Gaming Gone Mad show. I think you'll find that one quite entertaining, and you'll certainly make a plan to tune in live next week. Henrik, all of the best for the punting weekend to you, and the same to you, Han.
Thank you, Brent. You too.
Cheers, Brent. Cheers, Henrik.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week at 9 o'clock for Hashtag Chat Betting. You can subscribe to the channel below the video. Good weekend, and take those bookies to the cleaners.